Hi, I'm Justin from Grow Nashua, and today we are going to be making some maple roasted beets and carrots. So I'm here in my kitchen. I just got home and it's kind of a mess. So I have a cutting board. I'm gonna just kind of take it and like smush stuff out of the way. And then I might pick up a couple of these things here just to give a little more space to work. So I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. And so I washed up my carrots and my beets. As you can see, even a carrot like this, still okay. Usually we kind of slice maybe a little bit of that off. But we wash the carrots really good because the skin is actually, it's very thin and it's good for you. There's a lot of vitamins in there. The beets, maybe that's true, the same, but they're a little bit thicker, so I'm gonna peel these. And I'm also gonna make sure that as I'm peeling them, maybe I'll put an apron on, or maybe I'll just, if I care about my sweatshirt, I would be careful because the beets are a little juicy and they'll stain really easily. So I'm gonna do that and then I'm gonna rejoin you. So we're all chopped up here. I cut up the carrots first because, as I said before, beets get all over everything. My hands are still a little bit red. So I cut up the carrots first and then I cut up the beets second. Just want to try to cut them to be about the same size. So like this was the size of the carrot, that's the size of a beet. It's better to go too small than to go too big because then they will cook all the way through. And also when you roast them, there's like a lot of outside flavor that kind of comes on from the pan and from cooking them. So now that we've got them diced here, we're gonna just drizzle some olive oil on each side. You don't need too much, a little goes a long way. And then I'll probably you can stir them up with your hands, that's fine. Probably put a little salt and pepper on now before we mix them up. And kind of go like, the higher you go, the less it kind of like lands all on one, because you don't want all your salt on one piece of carrot. That's not tasty. And then a little pepper shaker, pepper grinder, whatever. It's all good. I happen to love pepper. I think it gives it a little kick. So there we go. So now we get that, and then I'm just gonna mix them up. I'm breaking my own rules. I did the beets first and the carrots second, but that's okay. So eventually they're all gonna get mixed up, so not really a huge big deal. All right, so this is a good step. Easy step. This is a pretty fun recipe, good for kids. Lots of easy steps to do. Get your hands a little dirty, and then, all right, and then we're just gonna pop it in the oven at 425 for 15 minutes. Right, so when you're popping them in, sometimes you got two racks in your oven. You can put them on the top rack, or you can put them on the bottom rack. The bottom rack's gonna get really hot really fast, so it'll give them a little bit more charred, but the top one will cook it a little bit more even. I'm gonna put it on the top to start, and I might even do half and half, but I'm gonna put it on the top. All right, so I did decide to take them out because they were sizzling in there. And I'm just gonna kind of move them around a little bit, give them a little flip. And it's my favorite spatula. It's called a fish spatula. It's for like people who cook fresh fish, which I don't do, but it's really good spatula. It's really thin and it's good for stuff like this because you can get right underneath. So you see they kind of get brown a little bit. So I'm gonna do like I said before and put the rest of this on the bottom half for the end of it. But these are cooking up nice. It's halfway through. All right, so another fun thing that you guys can do with your stumps is you kind of notice that this stump here, this is the beet stump. So see the beet stump. And right there, the beet leaves are gonna come back up because this is like the part of the plant that sticks up over the soil and grows. So they'll grow again and you can actually eat the greens. So that's kind of fun. Same thing with carrots. It's kind of fun too to taste them and see if you can taste which one is which, now that you know the flavors. But you just put them in a little bit of water. You just sit them in your counter, and then every day just make sure the water's still there, and if it's not, add a little bit more, and then they'll sprout. They'll probably sprout like 2 or 3 times. You can trim them, throw them in salad, and eat it. It's pretty good. It's kind of fun, science project. Right, so we're back. We have the stuff has been roasted, and we're gonna add in the butter and the maple syrup. That's the last step. You don't have to do that. Roasting veggies is pretty tasty on its own. And this is my son Colton. He would agree, right? Roasted stuff is pretty good. But it's better when we add in butter and maple syrup. It's like basically almost pancakes, but it's not. It's beets and carrots. So Colton's gonna drop in the butter, and the butter's gonna melt. This is all hot, so the pan's gonna melt good. You can use the spoon, maybe stir it up a little bit. I found that last time we made this, that if you cut the butter in half, here you grab a thing and I'll grab the thing. Let's just keep cutting it in half. Just rub it around, let it melt. And then we'll drizzle on some maple syrup on here too. It says 3 tablespoons, but it's kind of eyeball it. You don't want it to be too sweet, and a little goes a long way. So you can kind of like drizzle it on there, kind of like you were doing with pancakes. So if you like a lot of syrup on your pancakes, maybe put a lot of syrup on your veggies, and if you don't, then don't. Either way, the sweetness of the vegetables will come through, and the sweetness of the maple syrup. So we're gonna mix this up, and then show you the next step. So the pan's a little bit big. There's a lot of juice here, so rather than like just let it all be big all over the place and probably burn the pan like crazy, I'm just gonna move it down here like this a little bit and kind of scrape the stuff this way. That stuff down there will still burn a little bit, but then all these juices, these nice juices and the butter here is all gonna kind of stay with your veggies and add to the flavor. And then back in the oven for 5 minutes. All right, now that's hot. These things were cooking in there, so that's like 5 minutes. Was not like when you tell your kids 5 minutes, it's time to leave. This was like 5 minutes, like maybe 4 minutes. So keep an eye on these because there's a lot of sugar, and it would have burnt if I left it in there even another minute longer. All right, so then we're having this with chicken tonight, so I'm just gonna take a little bit of that maple sugar buttery juice, and I'm gonna drizzle a little bit on that chicken because that would be tasty. And then, all right, so we let that cool off a little bit because we cooked that at 425, so that means that the veggies were 425 degrees. Take a little bit of each, a little bit of chicken, a little bit of that tasty maple syrup juice. That's good. When you make this recipe, let us know what you think because I love it, and I'm gonna get going because I want to keep eating this.